Many thanks for joining us again on the newsroom. I am Annetta Felix. The Edo State Police Command has arrested one person suspected to be part of the gang that raped and killed Walia Omozua. Confirming the arrest, spokesman for the state police, Chidu Nwabuzo, said the suspect was arrested following examination on a fingerprint gotten from the fire extinguisher used to attack her, while further investigations are still ongoing to identify and apprehend other persons involved in the gruesome murder of Uwa. Wife of the Edo State Governor, Betsy Obaseki, has been commiserating with the family of the deceased. She condoled with the father of the slain student, assuring him that her death will be an anchor for other victims of rape and abuse in the country to get justice.
From Wednesday on Saturday when she died, tears were coming out from her eyes. But the eyes that the tears is coming out, not open. So the girl, that means the girl made true pay from on Wednesday till on Saturday.
It cannot be in vain. It will not be in vain. It will go a long way to save many lives, many innocent lives in this state and in this country. Her death will not be in vain. Be rest assured of that. And also rest assured that she's with God. She's with God. This life, no matter how long you live, if you live it to 100 years and at the end of it, you don't make heaven, you don't make it to your creator, then there was no point. It was all wasted. Right now, as a hero, the heroine, and a light in these dark ages, her death has brought about light in Edo State, light in Nigeria. Do you understand? They quenched, snipped life from her, brought darkness upon her life by taking her life away, but that life, God has turned it into light to begin to shine in Edo State and in Nigeria at this time. And this light, little light of hers, will bring many more to God. And at the end, Wala would have saved many more lives than she would have saved if she had lived 100 years ago.
Meanwhile, the Senate has asked the federal government to campaign against rape and abuse of women in the country. This formed part of the resolutions of the lawmakers following a motion raised by Senator Sandy Ono during plenary on Tuesday in Abuja. Ono condemns the rape and murder of 22-year-old Walia Omozua and other girls and women who have been abused across the country. He stressed that the brutality and rape cases against the girl child are on the rise and that Nigerian girls can no longer live their lives with confidence. In their resolutions, the Senate resolved to call for the arrest of the perpetrators and mandated the security agencies to employ strategies to check the rising cases of rape in the country. The National Assembly has been asked to declare the seat of Orji Uzor Kalu vacant over his continued absence in the parliament. The request was made by a group of youth who staged the protest at the National Assembly complex on Tuesday. The request follows the ruling of a federal high court ordering the Nigeria Correctional Services to immediately release the former governor of Abia State. Kalu is in the Kuje Correctional Service Center following his conviction last December for looting 7.65 billion naira belonging to Abia State. The Supreme Court had last month nullified Kalu's convictions on grounds that a judge lacked jurisdiction to hear the matter. You're still watching the newsroom on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back with updates in the northern part of the country. Do stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Market operations, religious gatherings and other businesses have been allowed to resume in Kano State, and that's coming as President Muhammadu Buhari announced the easing of the total lockdown imposed on the state. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje has issued fresh guidelines and established protocols issued to this effect. Ganduje said he arrived at the decision after he reviewed the facts and consulted with public health professionals. Part of the new guidelines limit movement and operations to Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and that's from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Ganduje has also summoned an emergency meeting with market leaders on how to ensure strict observance of safety and prevention protocols in markets and business places in the state. We'll take a break here and we'll be right back. To stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
On TV360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dullards that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
TV360, providing clarity to issues.
Nigeria's budget deficit has risen from 1.847 trillion naira to 4.563 trillion. The deficit figure captured in the original 2020 budget before its downward review was 1.847 trillion naira. It's gone up to 4.563 trillion in the revised appropriation, now awaiting National Assembly consideration and approval. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, dropped the hint during her presentation before the Senate Committee on Foreign and Local Debt, considering President Muhammadu Buhari's $5.513 billion external loan request. Oniha said the revised 2020 budget proposal is 10.509 trillion naira with a deficit of 4.563 trillion. She said the deficit will be financed through domestic borrowing of 2.188 trillion and external borrowing of 1.984 trillion, making a total of 4.173.560 trillion naira. Economic experts have condemned the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to retain its cash reserve ratio at 22.7% during the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja. The Managing Director of Cowrie Assets Management Limited, Johnson Chukwu, says the decision by the Apex Bank had cut short the expectations on analysts and may have an effect on the commercial banks. Chukwu made these assertions while speaking to TV360 Nigeria in an interview via Skype.
The basic reason is that the banks currently maintain a liquidity ratio of 30% and then a cash reserve ratio of 27.5%, summing up to about 57.5%. At the same time, the banks are required to maintain a loan-to-deposit ratio of 65%. So if the banks in the past couple of months have struggled to meet that loan-to-deposit ratio, they will actually be left with no headroom for further credit expansion unless you release their balances that are stabilized in the central bank. Or in the alternative, we expect that the level of system liquidity will increase astronomically. But in the absence of any major increase in system liquidity, the only source or the most likely source of liquidity for the bank will be the cash reserve ratio. So I was expecting that the central bank will reduce the cash reserve ratio to free more liquidity, make more liquidity available to the bank so that the banks can expand their lending. I mean, the primary objective of the central bank in reducing the monetary policy rate is because they want to inject more liquidity into the credit into the system, as well as reduce the lending rate. But if the banks don't have the liquidity, then they will not expand credit. And as you all know, there is already a disconnect between the monetary policy rate and lending rate. The monetary policy rate is no longer the determinant of the rate at which banks lend to credit customers. At best, what we will say that the monetary policy rate serve is to determine the standing lending rate and the standing deposit rate, which is currently at an asymmetric corridor of 200 basis points and 500 basis points. So aside from that, in terms of commercial credit and the credit market, I don't think the monetary policy rate is a major determinant of lending rate in the market today. So in that wise, I wouldn't think adjusting the monetary policy rate will have any material impact on the lending rate or the available credit in the market.
Libya's warring factions have agreed to restart ceasefire talks after weeks of intense fighting near the capital, Tripoli, escalated by foreign arms. In a statement posted online, the United Nations support mission in Libya said it welcomed their plans to resume talks. Since April 2019, the eastern-based Libyan National Army, LNA, of Khalifa Haftar has been waging an offensive to seize the capital, Tripoli, from the internationally recognized Government of National Accord, GNA. 2 ceasefires have already been agreed this year, but fighting between both parties have continued. The peacemaking efforts were further complicated following the resignation of UN envoy Ghassan Salame in March, with the Security Council yet to agree on a successor. And in sports, former professional boxer Floyd Mayweather has offered to cover the funeral expenses for George Floyd, the African-American who died of asphyxiation when a police officer knelt on his neck for minutes. Mayweather's promotional company, Mayweather Promotions, confirmed on Twitter that he had made the offer, and several local media reports have said his family have accepted. TMZ Sports tweeted a picture of a check from Mayweather to George Floyd's funeral service for $88,500. The Minneapolis police officer who knelt on Floyd's neck, Derek Chauvin, has been sacked and charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. And that's the updates for you on the newsroom. Thank you for watching.